we started talking the halachas of washing on Shabbos. So we said you have to divide it into three categories: water heated before Shabbos, water heated on Shabbos, and and cold water. So water heated before Shabbos we discussed last time, and the halacha is you can wash up to 50% of your surface area of your body, but not more. Okay, that's what came out. Okay, that's water heated up before Shabbos. Water heated up on Shabbos, you can't wash it all, right? You can't wash it all. The Mishnah Berurah writes in Shin Chafav Sivka and Hey that you can't wash even your hands alone. It's based on the Gemara on Shabbos and Kuf Lamed Daled Amud Beis. Now the question is, but what if it was heated up in a halachically permissible way? So I told you there are 5 cases here, and it comes out that every case is a machlokas. So the first case was it was heated up less than Yad Soletis. It was heated up less than Yad Soletis. Now remember, the shiur of washing in hot water is not the shiur of Yad Soletis. Nobody ever washes in that, right? According to Moshe, it's the shiur that most people wash in hot water, wash in that that level of heat. And according to a group of another achronim, it means more than body heat. Okay, so let's follow the second sheet. So body heat is 38.6 or 37 degrees centigrade. So you have something which is 100 degrees now. Okay, 38 degrees centigrade. So it's hot water. So if it was heated up to that before on Shabbos, you can't wash. Okay, now the question is though, what if it was done b'derech letzmut? So one was, it wasn't heated up to Yad Soletis, which is 45 degrees centigrade or whatever it is, 110, 120 degrees Fahrenheit, heated up to less than that. So the Mishnah Berurah says, no, you still can't wash it on Shabbos, right? Why? It could be because afraid he's going to heat it up more than Yad Soletis, so if he's sloppy the way he does it, whatever the reason is, you cannot use it for Mishnah Berurah. And the Noda B'Yuna and the Aruch HaShulchan are Mekel. They're both Mekel over here, and they say, no, you can wash, it's like hot water heated up before Shabbos, and you can wash Panav Yadav Baraklav up to 50% of your body. Okay? Ramosha Feinstein is Mekel like the Aruch HaShulchan Noda B'Yehuda. The Shmir Shabbos is in Perek Yudal and Halacha Beis is Machmir like the Mishnah Berurah. Okay? So that's one case of a machlokas. Again, so just to review so far. When you say it's mutter, it means it's like water heated up before Shabbos. You can wash Panav Yadav Baraklav, your hands, your feet, your face, up to 50% of the surface area of your body. If your mach means you can't wash it all in it, period. Now, it was heated up at derech mutter. So I told you there are 5 cases where there's a machlokas in every case. One is less than Yad Soletis, that was we discussed now. It came out in Mishnah Berurah, the Shmir Shabbos and Machmir, the Aruch HaShulchan, the Noda B'Yuna, and Moshe Feinstein are made. Next case, it was heated up by a goy, right? Heated up by a goy. So the Aruch HaShulchan here says no, it's osur, and or sivka and beis. In general, when a goy heats up like water, you're not supposed to use it because he might add more for you. So here the Aruch HaShulchan says forget it. Even if he's heated up by a goy, you cannot be mekel, even though the goy heated up for himself. Ramosha is mekel, and Ramosha finds it is mekel, and you can wash up to half of your body. The Shmir Shabbos is also machmir here as well. That is case number 2. So first case was like less than Yad Soletis. Case 2 is heated up by a goy. Okay. Case 3 is it got heated up by itself. Nobody did anything on Shabbos. It was put near the fire before Shabbos, right? It was put near the fire before Shabbos, and on Shabbos it heated up by itself. Put there right before Shabbos. So here, the Shmir Shabbos says no. In Perek Yudal Halacha Gimel, it's mutter. You can wash Panav Yadav Baraklav up to 50% of your body. And if you look in the footnote, your base there, he's quoting there both Rabbi Kiva Eger and Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. Those who are machmir, as Rabbi posed in the Kitzur Shabbos and Daf Nun Hey, and also Rionis and Shteit, quoting the Hilchos Yaakov, he says it's osur. Even the Hilchos Yaakov seems to say it's mutter. Anybody hear of Rionis and Shteit? Anybody hear of him? The big Hungarian posting a little bit after the word borough park. Anyway, Kitzur, that's case number 3, where there's a machlokas. It was heated up without doing anything. Now, the Shmir Shabbos, who is Mekel over here, right, he goes a step further. Because you can buy the kula, no, but not buy this extension. That what? That he says, if water is heated up in a dud shevish on Shabbos, let's assume you're lenient. You follow the Shmir Shabbos like the first edition. and you use solar heated water on Shabbos. He says that if you turned on the hot water on Shabbos and cold water came in, right? He says that's heated up by itself. You caused it, you turned on your faucet, your tap. He says, no, but you didn't have any kavanah for it. That's not so pashut. Right? It's the nichale. That's considered it happened by itself. That's not so pashut. All right, you can take issue with that. So that's case number 3. Case number 1 is again listening out. So that is case 2 is by a goy. Case 3, he got heated up by himself. Nobody did anything on Shabbos. Case number 4 is it got heated up by other water, other hot water. As you mix cold water with hot water, that's how the cold water became yad soledes. So obviously, if you machal Shabbos, it's no good. But you did it in a way that's good, i.e., you did it in a cliche. Cold water is one of the things you can put in a cliche. Or, it was put so much cold water that you knew it would never reach yad soledes. It would reach more than body temperature, it would never reach yad soledes. Never, now what? What's the story? It was heated up by hot water in a way that's mutter, cliche, or that it made sure it would never reach yad soledes. So the Shvisa Shabbos is quoting the Shmir Shabbos in footnote Yud Dalet, claims that you can prove from a Gemara that it's mutter. Again, mutter means up to 50% of your body. He's trying to figure out in Svara why. Okay? Now, if you're looking for those who answer it, including Rabbi Eider, page 388, he quotes, there are those who ask. But according to you, follow those who it's mutter. Why is it mutter? So he wants to say, when you mix hot water with cold water, you don't really want to warm it. You don't want to warm up the cold water usually. Your intention is to cool off the hot water. Okay, the Shmir Shabbos and Os footnote Svara quotes it from Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. Kitzer, that's one svara. So Shlomo Zalman says the svara, and the Eglei Tal has this svara. And therefore he says your kavan is to cool it off, hot water, not to heat up the cold water. It's like it got heated up by itself. The Shvisa Shabbos doesn't like it. Tries to give another svara, doesn't come out with anything, no pashut svara. He claims that's what it is according to the Gemara. So that's case number 4, where there's a machlokas. Now, case number 5 is it was heated up in the sun. You're allowed to cook in the sun on Shabbos. We discussed this. So the Shiur Shabbos writes over here in Perek Yudal Halacha Gimel, Perek Yudal Halacha Gimel. What if you heat it up in the sun? Which you're allowed to do. So can you wash? Like water heated up before Shabbos. So Shiur Shabbos says yes. He writes over here yes. In Perek Yudal Halacha Gimel, he writes over here. One moment. Here it is. You can put water in the sun and wash with him, part of your body, up to 50% of your body. You look in footnote Yud Zayin, claims that according to the Rav Shulchan Aruch, the Shulchan Aruch Rav, the Balatani it's also. You can't wash up to, it's like hot water heated up on Shabbos. So this is sum up. Hot water that was heated up before Shabbos, you can wash Pana of Yoda Baragla up to 50% area of surface area of your body. Hot water heated up on Shabbos, you cannot wash anything. What if it's heated up the heter? So you have 5 scenarios. Every one is a machlokas. Okay, different names, everyone's a machlokas. Heat up less than that, so that is 1. 2, heated up by a goy. 3, heated up without doing anything. It's put there before Shabbos. 4, heated up by mixing it with cold water with hot water. And 5, heated up in the sun. Period. That's the whole list. Now, what's the following halacha? You go into the bathhouse, not to wash yourself, but to sweat. Lazia, you walk into the sun and to sweat. No. So if you look at Shin Chavav, Yud Beis, Machaber says it's awesome. You're not allowed. Why? Mishnah Berurah quotes in Sifkatan Lamed Hey, the Gemara in Shabbos on Daf Mem Lamed Aleph, because over Avera. People used to walk into the bathhouse to wash. People would catch them on Shabbos. They're all wet. No, it's all sweat. I walked in Lahazia, right? Okay? Therefore, in other words, they would go in to wash, right? And they would wash with water, that were heated up before Shabbos, and they say no, they just went from the Zayah. Okay. Now let's assume somebody went into the bathhouse for some other reason, and not to sweat, but he's going to sweat. The Shulchan Aruch says it's mutter. It doesn't say it, but the Mishnah Berurah claims it's mutter. Only if you walk in purposely to sweat, and the Ramah says it is awesome. Okay? If you know it's, the question is whether they ask that there's if you're going to sweat. Okay, so again, walking to sweat is awesome because the people used to try to cover it up. And if you walk in, not for that, but you're going to sweat, is it awesome or not? That's a machlokes machaber and the Rama over here in Shin Chavav.
Which Steve?
Yud Beis.
Yes, thank you.
1 minute.
Rabbi, today they have these thing called steam rooms and like hotels and stuff. It's no
Let me get you said. Nowadays, what?
It's a thing called a steam room. My friend's apartment building has it. It's next to the pool. It's a different room. It's just very hot, just cool to warm up more.
Look, here is the kind of the merchants, right?
So it's not like that.
Right? So I don't know, maybe it's mutter there. You want to exert a slow plug? Probably. I'm not aware that it is. The lesson of the Shulchan Aruch, you can't go into the merchants for that. So you don't wash there, maybe it's mutter. Okay. Next. Let's assume the guy wants to wash himself up in cold water and then stand next to the furnace. No? So it's Machaber writes in Sif Dalet, it's awesome. It's awesome. And the Mishnah Berurah writes in Tikkun Yud Zayin, even though the water will never reach Yad Soledes, you're never going to reach Bishul, still, now the water is going to be hot on your body, and that's awesome. So you can't get yourself all wet in cold water and stand next to the furnace. Now, what about part of your body? What about part of your body? Why wash part of my body in cold water and standing for less than 50% area of the surface area of the body? So if you look in Sif Dalet and Sif Hey, there are two shittas over there in the Shulchan Aruch. One sheet is that it's mutter, and the Yesh Omer Sif Hey holds it's awesome. Mishnah Berurah points out what's the machlokas here. The question is, when you play this game, you put on cold water, you stand next to the furnace and it warms up the water, right? The question is this like hot water heated before Shabbos or on Shabbos? Look, de facto, it was heated up on Shabbos. So Yesh Omer says this is awesome, even though it's only part of the body. And the other sheet that holds that no, because it's not normal way of washing, right? It's not real rechitza, so you're allowed to be mekel. Now, halacha lemaisa, the Shmir Shabbos and halacha chaf dalet, Perkudat halacha chaf dalet, and Rabbi Adam, page 390 are both mach. They're both mach halacha lemaisa. It's like hot water heated up on Shabbos, because the fact the water is heating up on Shabbos, and therefore it is also even a part of your body. Therefore, halacha lemaisa, if you have let's say a sink where there's an electric hand dryer there, correct? And let's assume that it runs on Shabbos on the Shabbos time. That's not when your hands there, it goes on. It's running all the time. You want to put your hands there to dry it. So, and the water will not reach out so levis, it's also because they passing like the sheet in Sifhei that it's like water heated up on Shabbos, and therefore you're not allowed to do that. So it's cold water and you let it heat up there. That is awesome. Okay, so just to review this, walking into sweat is awesome. If you're going for something else, you know but you're gonna sweat. Machlok is machaber ramah, machaber is meko, ramah is machmer. And then to get yourself all wet and stand next to the fire is also if that's your whole body, more than half your body. If it's only part of your body, that's a machlokas 2 days in Shulchan Aruch. So as far as I know, the poskim are machmir, and therefore even a part of your body it's also, and therefore you can't use electric hand dryers, even though you know that that the rich water won't treat shad solex. Now, what I'm about to say is the halacha, but not lamaisa for Ashkenazi. It might be lamaisa for Sephardim, not for Ashkenazi. You're allowed to wash in cold water. A. Chamei Tveria, Shulchan Aruch says over here, is like cold water for this. That's what he says. There's no way you can turn on Chamei Tveria, right? The switch is by Hashem or whatever, by Hashem. So over here, it has a lot of cold water. The Shulchan Aruch says over here in Shin Chaf Vav in Seif Aleph, it writes that in Chamei Tveria you're allowed to wash even your whole body, and certainly in cold water. Fine. But the Shulchan Aruch claims that's if you're only in the actual Chamei Tveria. But if it's in a kli, you have a system that connects the Chamei Tveria and goes into a bathtub or something, that is awesome. It's got to be in the Chamei Tveria. It's got to be in the actual Chamei Tveria. Then, in Machaber and Shiur Sifrei says two shittas. What if there's a roof over the Chamei Tveria? It's a real Chamei Tveria, but there's a roof over it. Now what? So one shitta says it's mutter, and one shitta says it's awesome. Why? There's no problem in washing, but you're going to sweat there. The steam is going to collect, and you're going to sweat, and you're not allowed to be meziyah and Shabbos also. That's the sheet that's machmir. And the sheet that's mekel says, if you can wash there, you can be meziyah. The only answer is zeh because to cover up on the washing. Once you're allowed to wash it, you're allowed to meziyah over there. Halacha l'maisa, the Mishnah Berurah in Sivkot Yirav says you can be mekel here. He says you're allowed to be mekel over there. You can be mekel in there. You can wash there, you can be meziyah there. Now, there's another issue. Let's say it's okay. In the Chamei Tveria, you're allowed to wash, even your whole body. In the if it's in a bathtub, it's awesome, right? Then it's like hot water, and you're not allowed to wash your whole body. Fine. Then if there's a roof, you're shy about the Zayah, Bishul says you can be makeup. Now there's another issue over here. The Magen Avram points out, not over here, Shin Chav Ches Os Mem Tes. Let's assume you're washing natural Chamei Tveria, and that's mutter. But it's used only for sick people. People go there as a mineral spring, whatever it is, and people go there use it for health purposes. If people go there use it for health purposes, and you go there, it looks like you're taking refuah on Shabbos, and that's awesome. They can't, and you can't. However, right? It's also quoted over here in the Mishnah Berurah and Osches that if people just wash, the only people wash there is for refuah, then it's exempt because of refuah. However, if both healthy and not healthy people do it, then it's mutter because then it's not obvious that it's being done for refuah, and then it's mutter. Now the Mishnah Berurah adds over there in Shin Chav Ches Os Kuf Lamed Zayin, even a place where everybody does it for refuah, and you can't do it because of refuah. It's only if you go in there and you sit there for a while, because that's how people do it for refuah. You just go in and quickly wash and get out. Then it's obviously you're not doing it for refuah, and then it is mutter. Okay, period. Now, I said this is all halacha and maybe lemaisa for Sephardim, but not lemaisa for Ashkenazi. Why not? Mishnah Berurah quotes in Sivkot and Chaf Aleph that even though you're allowed to wash in cold water, Kosra Poskim, the minute is not to wash, right, even in cold water, in the river, in the mikveh, because whatever reason we'll discuss in a couple minutes. So once you can't wash in cold water, that minute you can't wash even in hot water. Heat it up in Chamei Tveria. Because the point is, Chamei Tveria is like cold water, but here, not so. But here, if you know it, if you mach in cold water, so you have to be mach even Chamei Tveria. Now, why? So before the why, the Aruch HaShulchan is always tries to be miyash of the minhag of the world and say, well, what everybody did is really okay. But over here, he's like very strong. He writes, and since there are a lot of michsholim when you wash in the river and so on, there's a minhag for kadmonim, the earlier generations, not to wash in cold water your whole body. Look, not to wash your whole body in cold water. And the Maril, very early Ashkenazi posek, the Maril quotes this, and then he writes, it's also quoted in Tumas Dershen, says the Aruch HaShulchan, and this minhag was accepted by our fathers and our grandfathers for a couple hundred years, and whoever comes to break down the fence that the Rishonim said not to wash your whole body in cold water, upon him it says the pasuk, Paritz Getter, whoever knocks down the fence, Yishchenu Nachash, the snake should bite him, because we accepted this like a Easter Chomer, not to wash in the rivers, in the lakes, in the springs, on Shabbos whatsoever. Okay, what is the source of this? Now, I'm not really aware that in the Sephardic world.
Rabbi, what about Shiur on Shabbos?
What?
About going to the mikvah on Shabbos.
Sablanut. Okay, Sablanut next week. Okay?
Okay.
So, what is the source of this problem? What's the source? So there are three reasons why this minhag evolved, even though I'm not really sure. I don't really think in that Sephardic world this became accepted. Now the problems are problems everywhere, but therefore you can never wash in cold water. I don't think was accepted in the Sephardic world, except in the Ashkenazic world. Reason number one: there's a problem of hotzah. Let's assume you go to wash in the river, right? You go to wash in the river, right? A place where there's no Eruv. So, if you look in Shin Chavav Sif Zayin, when you come out of the water and there's water dripping on you, you have a problem of hotzah there. So it says in Shin Chavav, in the Shulchan Aruch, in Sif Zayin, you get out of the water, you have to make sure to dry yourself right away, and because otherwise you're going to walk 4 amos in a Carmelis, not in a Rishus HaYachid. And it's worse than that, because when I'm submerged in the water, it's okay. But let's assume I start walking out of the river, and now part of my body is out of the river. So the part of my body out of the river, I'm also carrying the water droplets on it. So I can't walk Arba Amos with that water either. So therefore, the Mishnah Berurah writes it's the Cotton Chavav that, in other words, you can't go away from the edge of the river, the bank of the river. If it's shallow, you never go more than 4 amos if it's shallow there, because as you start coming out of the water, the part that's exposed is you're going to carry the water 4 amos. And therefore, the river is shallow near the edge of it. You have to make sure not to go 4 amos away from the edge. You shouldn't carry 4 amos. Only Mishnah Berurah Chaf Beis. And the Mishnah Berurah adds, don't play games. I'll walk, pachas marabamos. I'll walk 2 amos and I'll stop. And then I'll walk 2 amos and I'll stop, right? We're afraid you're going to forget. No. You have to dry yourself right away. So the point is that you have to be never, you can never have, when part of your body comes out of the water, the towel has to be within 4 amos of them. So just make sure that either it's deep until you're within 4 amos of the towel, or just not to get away from the towel more than 4 amos. So that's one reason. That's halacha according to everybody. So, but therefore, never wash in cold water because you might get messed up here. That is what is accepted in the Ashkenazi world, but not in the Sephardic world. But the problem exists according to everybody. Now, you might ask, you can't walk if you're outside where the drop. Let's assume you live in a place where there's no area. Good, so like Jews always live. You just don't carry things. No, you walk down the street. all of a sudden there's a cloud burst, and you're sopping wet. No, now what? So the Shulchan Aruch says, no, if it's raining, you don't have to worry about it. Right, but it says here, going in the street, and it starts pouring on you and your clothes, they weren't mocked about it. Now, says the Mishnah Brura, it's the Kohen Chav Gimel, two reasons. It says, first of all, in general, there's no shiur. And Shlo Kederach, not the normal way, and therefore, it's not the normal way of carrying. So since, there's no doraisa here, and there's not usually shiur, it's mutter. Now, then he tells you over here to look in the Taz. Look in the Taz here. He says, look, this whole thing is in a doraisa. It's not the normal way of carrying water. But so there goes there by coming out of the river. But there never goes there by rain because you can't be nizer in that. What are you going to say? If it's pouring, don't go outside. No, and what if you're walking down the street and all of a sudden there's a cloud burst? You have to freeze there until you dry up in the middle of the winter. What's going to be? So he says there weren't gozer. So this whole takana was only made coming out of the river and not coming out of if it's a cloud burst. Okay, that's the halachas about carrying when it's wet on, if there's no eruv. Again, the halachas apply to everybody, but the therefore never washing cold water was not accepted by the Sephardic rule. That is problem number one, and the source of this problem is the halachas are in Shin Chavav Ozai, Sif Zai. Next,
very quick question.
Yeah.
Even if the takana wasn't established, even if by rain the takana wasn't established, wouldn't it still be usher to walk Daled Amos then once you're soaked?
Again, repeat.
Even if the takana wasn't made that like you can't go outside when it's raining, and they let you still go outside, wouldn't it be usher to walk Daled Amos?
No, because it's not a doraisa anyway. It's not the way you carry water.
What's the difference between that and the river case?
Because there, they made it takana. They made it takana. They don't want people doing it. Okay? They excluded purpose rainwater because it's impossibly nizer. When Chazal made the takana not to walk around when you're wet outside, where there's no eruv, he specifically excluded if it's because of rain, because people can't be nizer in that. You with me, Naftali? You there? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Next, you look at Shin Lamed Tes Sif Beis. There's a takana rabbanon not allowed to swim on Shabbos. There's an issa of swimming on Shabbos. Now, if you're, let's say, in a Rishus HaRabim, not in a Rishus HaYachid, part of the reason is it's also, look at the Mishnah Berurah Dalet, you might splash the water more than 4 hours. But even let's assume that you have an indoor pool, right? So there's no problem about Hotzah, right? There's a Takana Rabbanon, Gzeira Shema, you might make a Chodesh Shel Shayot. Now, Mishnah Berurah tells you in Beis what it is. It's basically making a type of raft that teach people how to swim. Mishnah Berurah writes over here in Shin Lamed Tes Sif Days that it's a kli of guma, like of reeds that you weave it, and you make it like a long barrel that learn how to swim. The kids said you might make a tube, a little raft or something, and because of that they made a takana, you're not allowed to swim. There's these sort of swimming even in an indoor pool. Now, the Shulchan Aruch says over here that if there's an edge to the pool, that water can't go out. It's not like our pools. Pools now have edges, but usually water, you jump in, it splashes out, right? But if the thing has a very high thing around it, the water can't get splashed out. So then it's not like a river, it's like a bathtub, and you don't have to worry about it. They never made a takana there. Fine, I never saw a pool like that. Okay, I'll tell you it's relevant maybe for a little later on. Now, then there's a whole discussion in the Ber Halacha. Let's assume that has an edge, and water's not going to get splashed out, so it's not like a river. But in the pool, you could splash it more than 4 amos. There might be a problem. Okay, so the bottom line is takana drabanan, not to swim, right? It's not allowed to swim on Shabbos. Now, what's called swimming? Mishnah Berurah writes in Sifkat Beis is when your feet are off the ground. That would mean that's the definition. You can't tread water on Shabbos either. because even though you're vertical, not horizontal, if your feet are off the ground, it's a problem. Okay. I just want to add one more halacha over here. This is why it's relevant that a bathtub is not a problem. Halacha is in Shin Lamites Seif Vav. I'm in the wrong place. Where am I? I'm wrong. You can't make something float on the water, right? In a place you're not allowed to swim, you're not allowed that you can't like I could say on Yontif, right? There's no problem. So let's assume you can't put your little toy sailboat there in the water because it's going to move. Or worse than that, even if it's in the water already, you can't make it move closer to you or go further away. The Shulchan Aruch has a case here in Sif Vav that there are a lot of the water isn't clean near you, and you want to blow on the water or move the water that the junk floats away, the water near you is clean. You're not allowed to do that because the same way you're not allowed to float, you can't make things float, or things that are floating can't make them move on Shabbos. Okay, so it's only a problem in a outside place, right? But in a bathtub, that's not a problem, right? Or if you have an indoor pool literature that the water can't be splashed out, which I never saw something like that, this would not be a problem. Okay. So that's reason number two. Reason number one, why they don't wash in cold water is a problem. You might carry the water. Reason number two is you might end up swimming. Now, I have to be honest. I started with the reasons that are not the usual normal reasons that they say. When I read that original Mishnah Berurah, there's a meaning in Ashkenazi rule not to wash in cold water. He quotes a reason. He doesn't quote reason one or reason two. But even though they're valid reasons, the main reason they talk about it and they answer it is because of schita. You might squeeze the water out of your hair. That is the reason, the main reason why the Ashkenazi rule said don't wash in cold water on Shabbos, because we're afraid afterwards you're going to squeeze the water out of your hair. Now, even according to the Sfardim, who didn't accept this, however, they admit you can't squeeze the water out afterwards. They just say wash and make sure you don't squeeze the water out, okay? So the main reason is because of the problem of schita in your hair. Now I want to start discussing that topic. Let's discuss schita. Squeezing things out is a tolda. It's not an avalach. Now, as the Rishonim points out, this is in Shabbos, I think at the end of, which parak is it? Shemona Shrotzim. What is it? 13th parak of Shabbos, whatever it is. There's a Ran there called Rabbi Tam there at the end. It's found there in Tosing Subas Vav. The tolda of schita can be a tolda of one of two avalachs. It depends what you're talking about. Schita of grapes and olives, squeezing out grapes and olives, is a tolda of dush. Dush is threshing. In threshing, you break apart the psolis from the ochel, or the ochel from the psolis. It's in the shell, and you break it apart, and you break apart the connection between the shell and the kernel and the wheat grain. That's the avalach of dush. Now, tolda of dush is schita because it's not ochel from psolis, it's mashke from ochel. You squeeze out the liquid from the solid. That is a tolda of dush. So squeezing grapes and olives is a tolda of dush. Okay, now let's assume your shirt's wet and you squeeze out the water. That is a tolda of malabit. There's a malach of whitening the wool, and part under that comes the tolda of washing clothes. And when you squeeze out your shirt, right, that is a problem of malabit. So the Rishonim already point out, and Rabbi Tam already points this out, that schita can be a tolda either of dish dash or of malabit. Now, Gemara says in Shabbos, in Kuf Chav Ches Amid Beis, Ein schita b'seir. There's no schita in here. Rashi writes there because it is hard and does not absorb. Now, there's a machlokas Rishonim. Does that mean it's mutter? Or does that mean there's no doraisa, but it's also midrabanan? Right? So the Avnei Nezer in Orach Chaim Chelek Aleph, Siman Kuf Nun Zayin, Osyutal, causing machlokas Rishonim on this point. The Ber Halacha in Shin Bei Sif Tef, Dibur HaMaskal Osir, the Dibur HaMaskal gives it all away. It says, no, it's also midrabanan. Okay. Now, see, way we generally assume you can't squeeze out your hair because it's also midrabanan. It's also because of what? It's also because of, comes under Malaben or comes under Dush. So here there's a machlokas. The Avnei Nezer there in Osiral said the problem is Malaben. The problem is Malaben. Now he explains it. He says there's no doraisa of Malaben. Why? Malaben is only when it gets ingrained inside. He says when I have dirt in my garment and I wash it, that's a problem of Machabis Malaben. He says when you wash a dish, there's no problem of Malaben because the dirt is just stuck on the outside. It doesn't get ingrained inside the dish, right? Okay, that's what he writes over there. So he says there's no Malaben inside when you wash clothes, and likewise, he says on a derisa level, there's no problem of Malaben even in hair because it doesn't get ingrained; it's stuck inside the hair. Okay, that's why it's only a drabon. That's one reason why it's only drabon. The other reason why it's drabon, the Be'er Halacha says there's no concept of malaben on your body. No concept of malaben on your body. Anyway, the Avnei Nezer says the problem when you squeeze your hair is a problem of malaben. Rav Moshe Feinstein in Orach Chaim Chelek Aleph Siman Kuf Lamed Gimel says no, the problem is dush. Again, there's no doraisa because it doesn't absorb. Now, the Shir Shabbos points out in Perek Yudalet, footnote Samach Vav, that this machlokas achronim, Avnei Nezer and Moshe Feinstein is already a machlokas rishonim. And the Rambam, when the Rambam talks about Schita B'Seir, he quotes when he talks about Malabin. And the Tosis, we can Tosis super stuff above, but the problem is more of Dush. Okay. Now, so now that I squeeze out your hair on Shabbos, correct? Why not? Because of Sochet. Sochet of what? Machlokas achronim rishonim is problem of Malabin, a problem of Dush. Anyway, that's the third major reason why they said the Ashkenazim have a minute not to wash in cold water on Shabbos. Now, let me just point this out now. If you look when this is quoted in the Shmir Shabbos Hilchos in Perek Yud Daled, excuse me, I'm in the wrong place. Perek Yud Daled Halacha Yud Aleph. He seems to have, it's not the way I would understood it, that, look, you can't wash in cold water. It doesn't mean you can't wash your hands. It means you can't wash most of the surface area of your body in cold water. That's what I would have said, right? When he quotes it, he says, no. He says, the chumrah is not to wash the parts of your body that have hair on it. Look, hair means together. It doesn't mean like on your hand you have a couple of hairs. It means where there's a close hairs together, right? He quotes here, the minhag is not to wash on Shabbos and on Yantav the whole body, even in cold water. Only the parts of the body that are not covered with hairs. Now, if you wash all the parts of your body that don't have hair close up, you're going to get a lot more than 50% of the surface area of your body. So I understood as a kula that I would have understood the minhag is not to wash more than half of your body. He understands the whole chumrah is only on the parts of the body that have hair. That would make sense more because of the schita reason, not because of the other reasons. Now, tachlis, what ends up after this whole thing right now? Let me ask you, you're allowed to wash your hair on Shabbos? You're allowed to wash your hair on Shabbos. So the Avnei Nezer says, forget it. If the problem is malaben when you squeeze it out, so only washing your hair is awesome. The Mishnah Brura says it's mutter. You're allowed to wash your hair. Right? He writes, he says, in Simcha Chatei, you can wash your hair on Shabbos. The problem is squeezing it out. Why? So the Shmir Shabbos points out in Perek Yudal, the first foot, in the Kotu Shlam Zalman Orba. The problem apparently is dush. The problem is not malaben. And listen to this. He says, the problem is we're afraid afterwards the guy is going to squeeze the water out. But when you wash yourself, you push the water in towards yourself. You push the water in. That's not the problem. When you wash yourself, the problem is afterwards you're going to rinse it out and you're coming out. That's when the problem is. So it comes out that Avnei Nezer says that it's Osir, it's Malabein. The Bishul says it's Mutter. He goes more on the Gush. And Moshe Feinstein says it's Mutter b'makom ha-hatzor. So maybe we'll leave this and going to the mikveh for next Shabbos, and we'll also discuss about washing on Yom Tov.